What's up, everybody? I'm here in Destin, Florida. My name is Justin Thomas, if you're new to the channel. I just got done at Medicare Con 2020 over in Alabama, so we came down here for a few days. But at that conference, I got done speaking in front of a bunch of Medicare agents, teaching them how to use digital marketing, at what stages in their career should they be using this type of digital marketing, that type of digital marketing, and how to use it to scale their business. I have that talk for you guys. I recorded it so you guys could all watch it, so check it out now. I came into today with zero preparation, no idea what I was going to talk about, but I think that's going to serve you all. So the reason I did that is because I want to, with these breakout sessions, rather than just me presenting on stage, I want to serve you guys and what's best for you specifically that chose to come watch me. Anybody else have any questions or anything that specifically wants to be covered today?
What topic are you looking for?
Oh, yeah, I'll explain who I am for those of you that don't know. My name is Justin Thomas, so I own a consulting company called Insurance Advertising Masters, where we teach insurance agents of all kinds. I say all kinds. It's really best for life, Medicare, health, retirement. It doesn't work great for PNC, but teach them all how to use Facebook ads, YouTube ads, build funnels, drive traffic, basically everything advertising, marketing, and really running your business like a business rather than a job. Next, I want to go through the room, and we don't have to have everybody tell me, but whoever wants to, or at least wants to get something out of this presentation, tell me where you're at in your business and what your biggest struggle has been with marketing. Because what I wrote down, I came with zero presentation, and then I went to the gym, and I was like, I should probably put some stuff together. So what I was thinking about doing is beginner, intermediate / advanced agent, and then agency level, what I think you should be doing with marketing based on my own opinions, which are probably going to greatly differ from everybody else that you listen to the rest of this weekend. So whether or not you like my opinion, I'll share with you guys anyway. But with that being the case, anybody want to share with where they're at with their business and what their current marketing challenges are, or what you're doing for marketing right now? Because that will help you.
As far as social media?
Or direct mail, or whatever it may be, how you're getting people to sell to.
I've been in the business 35 years, and I'm seeing the social media becoming a big thing, Cody and everything running with it. But what we have seen so far on the social media platforms, Facebook and things, is I'm getting a lot of fresh agents that are just coming into the business, that are looking for full-blown hand-holding training, or I'm looking for somebody that wants to be an agent. And at this point, we just don't have the capability.
And when you say hand-holding training on like social media, or?
They're looking for an IMO that will actually walk them from the start of an interview all the way through to the very end.
Okay.
I see it more as a captive organization would be a better fit for them than an independent agent IMO system.
Okay, when you're saying that the training they're looking for, that's like on everything, like sales as well, or social media?
Yes, they want somebody they're fresh, just got a license, and they want somebody to fully train them from, knocking on a door all the way through to a
Take them
sale.
under your wing to get them up and
Yes.
Okay, that totally makes sense.
For you, they're looking for the fastest approach to making
Okay. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what they're asking.
Okay.
So I guess my question is, how do I target social media more for an independent agent that's established as compared to someone?
So you want to use social media /ads / basically online everything to recruit rather than for clients?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been 100% dependent on one of my carrier's leads ever since I started, and I don't really want to write for that carrier anymore, so I'm trying to go out completely on my own. What I did was back in August, I hired a marketing agency, and it ended up costing me like $70 a lead, so it's something that's not really great to have. So what I'm trying to do is figure out, okay, how do I start getting 50 new leads every week, or just some more high intent.
So you can be self-sufficient rather than relying on other people.
Yep.
Okay.
So getting into marketing for the first time online, want to create original or content for YouTube.
Okay.
Which is better at this point, using Facebook or YouTube marketing?
Okay.
Or what would you recommend?
Okay, this is giving me a lot of good stuff to talk about. I will hit what I was going to hit first, and then we'll come back and go over these. So the first thing that I wrote down is that marketing budgets don't exist if you know how to market and advertise properly. What I mean by that is, like, a lot of people and I notice this a lot. You know, when I watch Justin's YouTube videos, I think I just see quite a bit in the Medicare space. People, well, in all business space, but people will set aside or want to figure out like what is a good marketing budget? How much should I be spending? They just want to figure out what their budget is. But the fact of the matter is, and what I believe, is that when you advertise correctly, there is no marketing budget. And the way you advertise correctly is that every single dollar that you put into advertising should at least make you back $2. If it makes you more, that's even better. But if you can at least put $1 in and make $2 back, if you had a machine right now, there's a machine right here, you put $1 in and it makes $2 back, how many dollars would you put in? All of them. Exactly, as many as you possibly can get. And so if we can do that with our marketing, there's no such thing as a marketing business budget because you just continue to put them in. Now, there are things with insurance like, lead time, especially with Medicare people not being 65 right now, might be a little bit. So it takes a little bit to get there with insurance in general, but also Medicare. But I just wanted to open your guys' mind to that all marketing should be trying to get a return on every single dollar you put into every single marketing channel. And so with that being the case, I wanted to break down, if you're a beginner agent, what should you be doing? And then if you are I would say like an advanced to medium agent, what should you be doing? And then agency level. And this will just be as far as getting clients. All right, so if you're a beginner, and for all of these, I put down DIY, should you do it yourself? So if you're starting out, if you're a beginner, should you do it yourself? The answer is most times no. The only time I would suggest doing it yourself is if you literally have no source of leads. You don't have an IMO that can give you leads. You don't have a lead vendor relationship that can give you leads. If you don't have that, then there's a very simple funnel you can make. It's just a landing page. I was actually going to build a funnel for you guys today, but I don't think that's working. So if you're starting out, I would buy decent leads that are available. And what that does is it allows you to really hone in your sales skills, which advertising and sales, I truly believe, are so important. They're the same thing. If you can't sell, your entire advertising chain is going to be broken. If you don't have people that can convert the people coming in, doesn't matter how good you are at advertising, especially when you're doing insurance, because there's not really much e-commerce going on for insurance. You can't just sell a policy, at least not yet, or at least not yet at scale, straight from a sales page. It has to go to a person. So starting out with crappier leads, starting out with chasing people, which is what I consider leads. You get somebody that opts in for a quote, they opt in to talk to you. I call that a lead. The reason I call it a lead is because what I like to optimize for down the road is appointments. That's people coming to you and booking on your calendar. I like that better than inbound calls too. But leads, you are still outbound. You are still chasing. You are still doing a lot of hard work. That's something when you're starting out that you do need to develop. So I would start by buying leads because that's a lot easier. You can focus on honing your sales skills. Once you get to the point that you have something working, so you have a machine, right? So this is the goal, right? Even with this beginner stuff, you're buying leads, you should be able to put in $1 in leads and get $2 back. Buying leads is not super scalable. So a lot of times, there's people out there that say you should put $1 and get $10 back. But regardless, as long as you can make money off of it, you're doing the right thing. Then from there, once you have something working, you have this machine set up where you put money in, you can get money back. Then you need to be looking at, so we're here, right? I'm just talking, I'm not writing everything down. Now we're right here. So this is once you have a source working. You have something where you can spend money and make money. You have predictability in your business. You're not just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping that it sticks. At this point, your next goal is to try and figure out how you can make this scalable for yourself or other people. And the best way to make this scalable is stop using all of your time to do everything. So when you're working leads, you're outbound calling, you're outbound dialing, you're probably spending 70 to 80% of your time doing inefficient things that we can let technology do for you. So the best way to create this funnel, and this funnel for Medicare, the best one that I've seen is a longer form webinar funnel. And what you're gonna do, so first thing I would suggest if you're in this and you haven't already, is put on an in-person seminar. That's gonna grow you, that's gonna get you used to doing that. You're gonna start understanding the information a lot better. In-person is gonna be the best because you can practice, you don't have to worry about people, you don't have to worry about all the online stuff, you don't have to worry about show price, you don't have to worry about opt-ins, you don't have to You can use Facebook ads, but you can also use direct mail. You don't have to worry about all that stuff. So let's just get this down first, do an in-person seminar. And I guarantee someone in this room has a script for an in-person seminar or in this entire conference. So if you don't know where to get that, figure that out. Just start doing that. Get used to doing that. Once you do this in person, all we have to do for the webinar funnel is put that online. And you can use, there's so many different softwares out there to do a webinar funnel, and I'll just draw it for you right here. For those of you that don't know what a funnel is just a sequence of landing pages, sequence of web pages. And the reason we use that compared to when you hear the word traditional website, a traditional website is good for your home base. It's good for everybody to have a traditional website because whenever you're advertising, whenever you're doing anything, even in person, but also online, people are probably gonna Google you, people are probably gonna look up who you are. So it's always good to have a home base, but don't ever put too much time or thought into that. It's really just there for your credibility. So have your home base, but you never wanna send paid ads to your home base because it doesn't convert. It has no goal. It's like if you were playing basketball and you just threw the basketball up in the air, you didn't have a goal. We don't want to send traffic to a website because people don't know what to do. That's just wasting money. You might as well just light it on fire. So we want to have a specific landing page or sequence of landing pages, which is a funnel that we send people to. So for Medicare, you can use Webinar Jam, that's really good software. Zoom is really good software. There's quite a few out there for doing the actual seminar, but online. And you don't even really have to get into funnel softwares like ClickFunnels or anything because a lot of these at a very simple, when you're starting out, simple scale, simple is better. So just use Zoom's opt-in page. Whenever you create a webinar on Zoom, whenever you create a webinar on Webinar Jam, they all have their own opt-in pages. Just use that starting out. Later on, you can put it into your own funnel. But it's really simple. You just have which is really just a registration page where no matter what the traffic source is, eventually it can be paid ads, but initially it could just be you sending a text to somebody you know. It's to go get them to register for your webinar. Because once they register for your webinar, all the softwares I mentioned, Zoom, Webinar Jam, anything else, will start sending out automatic reminders to these people. You should also do manual reminders as well too, because people tend to ignore automatic ones. Well, let's just say that today is Thursday, so you're gonna do a webinar on Tuesday. Well, you want people to register for this. So we find traffic. Again, that can be as simple as you just sending it to people that you know. It could be sending it to, if all of you take one thing from this entire presentation, I would start collecting an email list. That's probably gonna be the most valuable thing any of you can do. It has generated tons of money for my business. It's free traffic. It's turning all sorts of traffic into traffic that you own. So if you have an email list, that'd be a great place to blast it to. But opt-in page, thank you page. So they just hit the thank you page after they register, and then where the actual webinar takes place, which can be Zoom, can be Webinar Jam, doesn't matter. But so they opt in, thank you, they're gonna get reminders, then they're gonna show up, you're going to do the webinar live. I'd suggest doing your webinar live for the first 8 to 10 to 50 times, whatever it takes you to get comfortable with it, then you can record it and you can automate that later on. But I would start out by doing it live. This is going to be so similar to the in-person one that you already did. It's going to be exactly like the in-person one that I just told you to do, but now you're just doing it live, online. That way you can scale, because in an in-person room, in this room right here, I'm not really good at this, but maybe there's like 50 people. If I did this online and I promoted it well, I could be talking to 1,000 people. I could be talking to 10,000 people. So much more easier to scale. The entire goal of this is to educate. When it comes to Medicare, is to educate. I would suggest having one direction that you're going to push people to, whether that be Medicare Advantage or Medicare Supplement. When you go neutral and you're not polarizing, people tend to not listen. So I would at least take a stance on one of those. You don't have to vilify either, but at least have some sort of recommendation. You, after all, are the salesperson, you're the educator. So I would do that in your presentation. And then from there, once at the end of this webinar, there's a link that goes out. It's super simple, depending on the software you use. And all of this stuff on like how to use the software, just YouTube it. Super easy. That's the part that people will teach you about. This is the part that people won't teach you about. So take this, and then when you're like, how do I actually do that? YouTube will show you that part. Then from the webinar, you're gonna send them to a schedule page, and you can use Calendly or Schedule Once. And then they're gonna start booking on your calendar And you can do this once a week, you can do this twice a week, you can do this 7 days a week. But ultimately, this will become a place where you do one presentation and you now get people coming to you. You're no longer chasing, you have people coming to you. This starts to scale, especially once you can do it. You can automate this entire process, even the webinar. Now make sure you do it live for a while so that you get good at it, because the conversion rate of the webinar really has a huge effect on the cost of all of this stuff. But once you get to the point where this is automated, the video has been recorded and the video plays when people get there, this becomes your number one salesman, and it works for you 24/7, 365. It doesn't complain, it doesn't quit, it doesn't do anything that a human will do. It's you who should be the best salesperson in your organization, working for yourself 24/7, 365 to bring people to you, which changes your positioning. You're no longer chasing people. You are the one that people come to because you are the expert. You're positioning yourself. You guys have full control over how you're positioning yourself. So I highly recommend, once you guys have that initial machine, you have a lead source, you have something working for you, you then implement this as well. Please do not stop what's working. A lot of times people come to my program and they will stop what's making them money to focus on this. And then that's not good. So just don't do that. Keep doing what you're doing. Do this on the side until you start to be able to figure out, okay, well, I mean, you can do a profitability analysis and figure out what's making you more money. Or once you see that this is making you more money because people are coming to you, then you just stop doing the initial thing. Or if you have a bunch of agents, you can do both. But once you get to that point, then we're gonna do the webinar funnel, and that starts bringing people to you. I know you focus on annuities and you focus on annuities. Same concept can be used for annuities, can be used for life. It's all about educating people. You know, I'm sure you guys both do in-person seminars, but it can be used for a lot of stuff. But ultimately, it gets you to be able to bring people to you. Now, when you get to agency level, all right, sorry, hold on. Do it yourself or pay someone to do it for you. Right, with beginner, it was most of the time just buy leads, don't do it yourself. This one, unfortunately, you pretty much have to do it yourself, because nobody that has a marketing agency knows how to do this. And they also don't know how to get your face there, get you talking about what you do. And if you just let them make a video for you, you lose all the benefits of this. But there's a balance, okay? Once you get to agency level, or even once you get this up, if you don't want to have agents, that's okay. You do have to do this yourself. You do have to put in some hard work, but I can tell you it's completely worth it. Once you get to this level and you have this asset built, we can go back to having a done-for-you model. We can hire an agency to run the ads for this. But if you go in and expect an agency of any kind, there's some outside the insurance industry that do this, but the problem is that they won't be able to implement it for insurance the way that you do, or know how to. So you definitely have to head this up. But once this is built, this is an asset that you're building for your business. You know, it's probably one of, if not the most valuable asset you can build once this is in place, because you're literally building a salesperson that works for you 24/7, 365. The only thing I would maybe equate it to is if you had a SEO site that was getting tons of visits a day. That's another very valuable thing for your business, but this can be learned and probably implemented by most people in 3 months, 3 to 4 months, 6 at the longest of working hard. An SEO site, that's years. That's like minimum 1 year. You got a question?
I got a quick question for you. On
Yeah.
the webinar section, what's your feelings on doing like an information squeeze versus a live? What's better versus one versus the other?
Information squeeze, what do you mean by that?
So you have a webinar post that's a recording, they can get anytime, just by giving you their email. That's kind of being live.
Yeah. So I would recommend eventually going to that, but the problem is that you need to, one, this needs to be dialed in, because if the conversion rate on this is less than 10%, meaning that like 10 people show up, 1 person opt-ins, or 100 people show up, 10 people become appointments, you want your conversion rate to appointments at least 10%. If it's not, the entire thing's screwed up. And then when you go to automated, you lose a lot of other things. You lose the ability to squeeze a lot more juice out of people, but the fact that it can run all the time makes up for it. So you want to make sure that everything here is really tight and on point, and then you can do that, but you also then have a few more factors to start thinking about. And I would always recommend telling the client that it is recorded. A lot of times, like in the last couple of years, people outside of the insurance industry, they try to like pretend that it was live. And I think it always record. I mean, just being ethical is always the best thing to do, but I think it even converts better when you tell them it's a.
Yeah, I just didn't know if like live webinars would get more attention versus them being posted there to get the information. I don't know if does one give you a better turnout versus the other?
I would say live definitely gets you a better turnout, but it comes down to at scale, it's probably not worth the time to be able to do it live as much as you can do it completely automated. So yeah, agency, I recommend having multiple different sources of people to talk to, leads, whatever's been working for you, but then I would definitely implement the webinar, and then I would get to the point where you can hand off the ads to the webinar. And a lot of agencies will be able to do that because you already have a asset that's working for you. You already have statistics. You already have numbers to give them, benchmarks to give them. And if they don't continue to meet what you've already been doing, then you also know how to manage them at that point. A lot of people outsource before they even know what they're doing, and then they have zero way to manage the agency that they outsource things to. So that's what I would do: beginner, advanced, and agency. All of it really comes down to getting people to come to you rather than chasing, especially when you want to start scaling. But beginner, focus on selling first. Yes.
Where do you get the opt-ins? How do he sends out mailers.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you get the opt-ins?
Yeah. Well, I'm doing a presentation on YouTube ads at Christian Brindle's summit coming up in a month. That's one way. But yeah, doing YouTube ads, doing Facebook ads. If you have direct mailers that you already control the copy of, I think Chris Weir's here. I talked to him last year. He was totally down to let people put the link in his mailers. So that could be something, if you're already paying to get in front of people through a mailer, put a link on there and see if it doesn't, one, screw up the actual opt-in rate of your mailers, but also, those things get like 3% at best of people responding. So that means there's 97% of people that don't do anything with it. And if there was a website for them to go to, you may be able to convert a lot more of those people. So that's an easy thing that people are already paying for mail can do. There's so many ways to get traffic. You can start putting out YouTube videos, and then you put the link to this in your YouTube video. If you want to, you can start doing TikTok. I'm the judge is still out on whether Medicare clients are on TikTok. But there's so many different things. You could start writing articles. You could literally anything. If your friend has a website that has something to do with your market, figure out a way to have him plug a ad in there. There's so many ways to get traffic.
Like Google pay-per-click somehow to...
Yeah. I mean, that's another example. So basically Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Google pay-per-click, Google display, all of those are paid ways, and all of those are really what I suggest getting to one of those sources, because then you have predictability, right? Where you can put in a certain amount and then you track how much you get back. But then outside of just those common ones that almost everybody's doing to some degree, there's many other ways to get traffic very creatively. If you go out and make relationships with people that write blogs, anywhere that you can find where your target audience is hanging out, Facebook groups, anywhere that they're hanging out can be a traffic source for you. Typically requires you creating relationships with the people that have cultivated that traffic group. I like to think really creatively when I'm doing that as to what can I do differently than what everybody else is doing. But yeah, Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff is going to be the easiest, fastest way to do it. So, yeah. And it's super easy. Even if it's Facebook, I do like picture ads better than video ads for Facebook, but literally just pull out your phone, find somewhere with a nice background, say, hey, this is Justin Thomas, how's it going? If you are 65, turning 65 in the next 6 months, if you know anybody that's turning 65, if you have a mom, a dad, a grandma, whatever it may be, turning 65, I'm putting on a free presentation Tuesday night at 5:30. I'm going over everything you need to know about Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement, the 2 paths, everything. Make sure you get there. If you know somebody, please share this. Thank you. That's as simple as it is.
Do you have to have a business page to do that, or?
You don't have to have a business page to make the video, but in order to then put it on a Facebook ad, you do have a business page. And then I suggest everybody, it's now called Facebook Business Suite. It used to be called Business Manager. I'd suggest running ads through that. Again, that part can be YouTube. And I don't want to plug, but this is what I teach all day, every day. So for anybody that wants really advanced coaching, we have that. But yeah, I gave you a ton of what we teach anyway, but you can go find out exactly how to run that. But I would suggest everybody run it through Facebook Business Suite, or if you're doing ads, do it through Google Ads. A lot of people will when they first get on Facebook, everything they post has a little boost button, and it says boost this. That's just a way for Facebook to steal your money. So don't run ads that way. You have like no control doing it that way.
On YouTube, so Facebook, you can target age 64, right? A lot of people that run Facebook ads know that. On YouTube, it's a different, it's an age band, and you figure out how to target 65-year-olds when it comes to YouTube.
The best way, and the way I'll answer this is on Facebook, they're also taking away a lot of targets as well too. So what I like to do is target with my copy. On Facebook, depending on how you set things up, you don't get paid for the first 30 seconds. If people watch after 30 seconds, you don't get charged. So people, depending on how you set it up. So what I like to do in my ads is, hey, if you're, what I just said, like I talked about being 65. So if somebody wasn't 65, in the first 30 seconds, they're gonna skip, because people can skip within 5 seconds. So even though a lot of these platforms have the ability to have targets, I target with the way my copy speaks. We'll get back to the initial questions. Retargeting. So retargeting, my retargeting strategy is pretty simple. So, well, it's simple in theory, but then when you have to install pixels and stuff, it gets not simple. But all these platforms have what's called a pixel, which allows you to track people across the internet. And they have the iOS changes, which somebody asked about. I'll get to that. But when you're tracking people, the platforms can do a pretty good job of doing that, even with these changes. And so you just get that set up, and then once that's set up, anybody that has visited, so let's just go back to this funnel. So we're gonna have a couple different retargeting points here. And this is why I like having funnels and landing pages so much more than just using Facebook lead forms. With Facebook lead forms, you have basically one retargeting point, and it's something people are already seeing. Don't have them fill out, get put on that first page, make them read, get intrigued, click a button, then go to the next page where they actually have to fill in their information. And I like to use Typeform, because you can actually use, with Typeform, it asks the questions one at a time. So you get micro commitment. So it's like first name, last name, how old are you? And then the last thing you get is phone numbers. So by the time they've already answered 9 questions, they're already committed. So it gets better conversions. But getting them on that second page, it gives you multiple different retargeting points. So you can retarget people that hit this first page, and then hot retargeting would be people that started the form but didn't finish it. So that's another little tidbit here. But for this webinar funnel, I'm gonna retarget anybody that hits this opt-in page that doesn't register. And then anybody that ever hits my schedule page but doesn't schedule, that's hot retargeting. And they're gonna get blasted with my ads until they schedule with me. So that's, my retargeting.
Pixels only to servers I track them.
Good question. I do, but I don't recommend it for most people. So I use a company called Hyros. I wouldn't use that unless you're up to at least $1,000 per, maybe $500 to $1,000 per day in ad spend. Anything under that is probably not going to be worth it.
Hyros does retargeting for you at the server side?
It doesn't do the retargeting for you, but it feeds the info back into the platform so you can retarget based on Hyros.
Cappy or Google Tag Managers?
Hyros uses Cappy.
For the analysis, not for the retargeting.
So it uses Cappy to send Hyros data back into Facebook.
Right.
And then from there, I create an audience from Hyros' data.
Oh, okay, I didn't know Hyros did that stuff. Interesting.
Yeah. So for anybody that's really advanced, we were talking about iOS attribution. For most people, the answer to iOS 14, 15, they're talking about how Facebook's not going to work anymore. That's clearly not the case. I still use Facebook. We spend about $1,000 a day on Facebook.
It chases people off.
Yeah, but it comes down to your copy needs to be a lot better. Your ads need to be a lot better because you can't rely on the algorithms anymore. So even with Facebook and YouTube, just get better at writing ads and make them relevant to the people that you want to speak to. Cool, so that's for targeting. Benchmarks, what specific benchmarks are you thinking?
Like, what should I expect for like a cost per lead for somebody, or like how many people should?
Yeah, so what I like to do is I like to not worry about like what other people's are. I like to use the reverse profitability equation to figure out what your KPIs need to be. So, because this depends on everybody's selling styles. If somebody only sells one product and they make like $250 per sale, well, their KPIs are going to be a lot different than somebody that every single sale, they're bundling multiple products and they're making $1,000 up front with that. First of all, the person that's doing the second thing is going to be able to out-advertise you by far all the time because they can afford to pay more for a client. What you want to do is you want to reverse engineer it to know what your KPIs are. So basically, figure out what your average sale is. From there, we're going to figure out the KPIs, and the things that you need to know are what your cost per click should be and what your cost per lead should be. And then if you're doing the other funnel, you want to know what your cost per appointment should be. That's the most important thing when you're doing the other funnel, when you're bringing people inbound. So, I mean, just to give you kind of benchmarks of, you know, what other people are able to generate them for, I would say anywhere between like $10 to $30 for leads that you're outbound calling, if you're doing it yourself. And a good, so more important benchmarks to look for to know if your ads are performing well is click-through rate. So that means what percentage of people are clicking. I would shoot for a 3. 3 is good. Like, you always want to be shooting for a 3. It's going to be hard to get a 3, but at least you know that if you're not at a 3, you should be testing new ads. 3%.
Can you define click-through rate for those that everyone knows?
Yeah. So if 100 people, if Facebook shows your ads to 100 people and 3 people actually click. So for the recruiting question, I would, and we have people that are doing this really successfully. I would basically create a funnel very similar to the webinar funnel, but it's called a VSL funnel, and this is really what I teach all my live clients. But a VSL funnel is going to have an opt-in, and then it's going to have a video, and this is going to be a pre-recorded video, about 10 to 15 minutes. And then from there, I like to do a survey first, and I like to position it as, so this video is basically selling them as to why they should work for you. And then you're going to position it as you don't work with everybody. They have to apply before you even talk to them. Survey goes here. And you can use ClickFunnels for that survey. You can use Woohoo for that survey. I like Woohoo or Typeform because you can use conditional logic. So if people don't respond in a way that you like, you can send them somewhere else. Like for me, if people don't respond with what I want for my sales team, I just send them to my YouTube. Just be like at this time, you know, you're not ready. So opt-in, video, survey, schedule, and then the last one is thank you. And then you just run ads the same way you would run ads for clients, but the big part of this is the video on selling you as to why they should work with you. So, you know, the thing that really works with this funnel is that you have to be a good place to work for. And I'm not saying that you aren't, but like a lot of people are just looking for a magic way to recruit. But if you're trying to recruit somebody to a crap opportunity, it doesn't matter what type of advertising you're using, you have to have a good offer. Yeah, so that's super simple. So it's basically a simplified version of the webinar funnel, 10 to 15 minute video. Yeah. And then you can send emails. So I like to send emails from the opt-in because typically if people are gonna like come from Facebook or YouTube, they're not usually just sitting at home in front of their computer. They're at the grocery store, they're with their friends, whatever it may be, and they don't want to sit and watch a 10, 15 minute video. So every time somebody opts in, I send them an email and be like, here's the video you opted in for so they can find you, because they're also rarely going to be able to find your link that you're posting on Facebook. So emails are really important here too. All right, Facebook versus YouTube. At this point, I like YouTube 1,000 times more. Facebook has been such a pain in my butt. I've been shut down. I literally can't even run ads from my own account. I have to use my wife's because it's such a pain in the butt. But it's still profitable, so I still figure out ways to use it. But I'm so bullish on YouTube. I think that there's a huge barrier to entry because so few people like to make videos. So few people like to be the face of their business. And then on top of just being able to make a video, there's certain way that you want to script things and be, you know, capture people's attention and actually, you know, convert them. And a lot of people aren't good at that. So it makes YouTube harder, but once you figure it out, it's a gold mine because so many other people stay away from it. And you can target, I love YouTube because you can target what people search on Google. So if somebody's on Google and they're searching Medicare, what's Medicare? You can then go target them you can get in front of them on YouTube, even if they go look up, you know, Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. It has nothing to do with Medicare. You can still get in front of them no matter what they're doing if they've already searched it on Google. Sounds good.
Well, you said we should, you know, the second phase, we should do that ourselves. It's our hard work.
Mm-hmm.
What about when you don't have to face the flu, how to do all that stuff? How can you do the work?
Well, I'll just plug my company. That's what we do.
But you said don't farm it out.
No, we don't do it for you. We teach you how to do it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's where we're different. We would never take on a client to do this for them because there's a lack of integrity. If I said that I was going to create a video for you, I wouldn't be able to do it at the rate that you would with your experiences, your stories, all that stuff. So I will never, ever, ever have a done for you platform. At least for the VSL, the video, all that stuff. We teach you how to do it. I think there's other companies out there that teach you how to do it. There's a lot you could start, like if you don't want to pay for mentorship, that's totally fine. I would start by like reading copywriting books. I would start by reading a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of info out there on how to do it. But the point is spend money or time developing that skill.
So help me understand on the retargeting. I know you said that, what was the company or what did you say you used to help with you on the retargeting?
Yeah.
Because I'm at a point where I'm trying to figure out how to do the retargeting. I don't know if it's very simple on the Facebook side or if you actually have to have a company help you like you're talking about.
How much are you spending per day on ads?
We just started out and probably spending $150 a day.
Okay, so it's not worth it yet to go to a higher one, so I would wait till you get to about 500 to 1,000 per day. All you have to do is, it's simple if I had a computer, but I don't have a computer. Basically, on Facebook's business suite, there's like a side menu. There's a little hamburger menu. You click on the hamburger menu and you're gonna go to data sources. And then from there, you're gonna find the pixel. And then it's gonna give you the pixel code. You just copy that. And then you're gonna go and put that in your landing page's heading. So what do you use for landing page?
I've used Clip. I have your program too, so I was
Well,
gonna
I'll show you exactly how to do
Can
it.
I just go into the program? Do you have all this on there?
Yeah, it's on there. It's a lot easier than me trying to teach you how to do it right now. Okay. Well, I can teach everybody else, but you go to data sources, if you use ClickFunnels, whatever it is, you put it in your header, and then I like to use custom conversions. So then, again, on the side here, there's gonna be a little thing called custom conversions. You click on that, you just put in the actual URL of the page after what you want to happen. So if somebody schedules, you're gonna put it on the thank you page of the schedule, because the only people that have the thank you page are people that have scheduled. And then if you wanna track a lead, you put it at the thank you of the webinar registration, because the only people that are gonna hit the thank you are people that have opted in. So you put it after the page of what you want to happen, and you just call it what you want. It's pretty simple. And then from there, you can create audiences. Once you understand this part and like the strategy, you can go to YouTube and people talk about the in the weeds stuff all the time. But a lot of people don't know how to use that because they don't have this part. So hopefully this has helped a lot of you. This is probably still really in the weeds, but
3 minutes.
okay, cool.
What would be your top 3 tips for someone just starting out with a YouTube ad, or maybe things to avoid or mistakes you see with people?
I would start out by using maximize conversions as your conversion event. I would make sure that you call out your audience in the first 30 seconds so that people that aren't your audience aren't watching it. And tell people that aren't your audience to leave. I tell them to skip the ad. And then be way more energetic than you're probably inclined to be.
Do you have any experience with any groups that have looked for paid speaking engagements in the Medicare space and how to try to target that type of opportunity?
As in like to get yourself to speak.
Right, to have speaking opportunities for Medicare groups?
I don't have any experience with it, but I do know that if you start putting out YouTube content and you start putting out Instagram content, those people will find you. The only reason I'm speaking here today is because I have a YouTube channel with 5,000 subscribers on it. Putting out content is so valuable. I mean, I'm recording myself right now. I send this to an editor, but at this point, am still my own videographer. So content's super important, especially if you want to speak, because people want to see that you're comfortable on camera before they put you up in front of a person. But then the other thing I would do is start looking for groups that are already created, where these people are already hanging out. Facebook could have them, could be Facebook groups. Since it's older demographic and maybe actual, what are those things, where did people hang out before Facebook groups? What are they called?
MySpace.
No, not MySpace, forums, online forums. Yeah, sorry. No, I think they are. Online forums may still have people. There's probably some big online forums. People asking questions about Medicare. The other thing is that you can create your own. You could easily create your own. And I've done this for all of my businesses. I create my own Facebook group. And then, So for that strategy, you can literally go out and friend 40 people a day on Facebook, and then once they accept your friend request, you just send them a message and be like, hey, I created this group, I thought you might be a good person to be in it. And you can get, you know, if you get really well optimized at that message, you can get like 20 to 30 people a day. And I've grown like my group to 5,000 people, I've grown another one to 1,000 people in like 30 days. So you can create your own, and then from there you can put on your own shit.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, thank you all.